I always say there are 3 levels to this consciousness, and this is what we're going to be exploring this weekend. So you guys can manifest miracles in your life. You can manifest the career you want, you can manifest the partner, the lifestyle you want, you can manifest whatever you want. But it's very important to first understand these 3 levels. Okay? Do you guys all have journals or notebooks or something like that? Because we're going to be going through a lot of things, and I don't believe any of you will be able to keep it in without writing it down. Okay? It's going to go in and out the other. Huh? So, please, the first level, this conscious level is, by the way, I just want to put it into perspective. In research, it's shown that our brains actually processes 11 million pieces of information every second. 11 million pieces of information. Can you even believe that? Like, you can't even wrap your head around how does that even make sense. Out of the 11 million pieces of information every second, if you tried extremely hard to be as present in the moment as possible to try and figure out what the pieces of information are, you'll maximum be able to find out 40 in your conscious mind. Okay, so in this second, I'm seeing the light, I'm also seeing something flickering there, I'm seeing somebody smiling over there, I'm speeding, and I've already passed that second. But then there's also the things that we don't notice. But it's there, it's happening. We notice on a different level, which number 2 is then called the subconscious level. And the easiest way, and the analogy and example I always give to explain this level is very simple. How many of you know how to drive here? You know how to drive. Okay? You're driving on the highway. For a few seconds at least, you are gone. You're somewhere else. You come back at the wheel and you're like, oh shit, focus. Anybody had that moment before? Okay, so where were you? And were you still driving? Yes, you were. Were you still probably hitting the brakes or hitting the accelerator or maybe even avoiding cars? Yes, you were. But you didn't even know you were doing it. That is a very powerful state to be in. And that's why over these 3 days when we start exploring, being able to manifest things subconsciously, meaning it feels like you're not even trying anymore. Like you don't even feel like you're doing much, but you are doing it without even knowing. How many of you think that sounds pretty cool, right? You manifest your dreams, your goals, your desires without trying too hard, okay? I'm not saying you don't do anything, okay? You are doing, but you don't know you're doing. That's subconscious. It's much more powerful than conscious. Okay? These levels, they will work up. Then the final level is the superconscious. The final level is the superconscious. The conscious is here in mind. The subconscious is here in mind. The superconscious is your collective that is outside of your mind, but a part of you. And it's working. Right now, it's working. Right now, you are connected, but you are not aware of how you are connected. In the sense that, right, let me ask you this question, right? A tree. Is a tree a part of you, or is it separate to you? Take a tree. A tree, is it a part of you? This plant, is it a part of me or is it separate to me? Okay, some people say separate. So, look, we are individual parts, but we are connected. For sure we are connected. How do we know this? Does anybody know if we got rid of all trees and plants in the world, what would happen? Do you know what would happen? No oxygen, meaning you die. So let me ask you a question then. One simple thing like a breathing apparatus, is it inside here? Only? Is really your breathing apparatus, at school we learn, okay, lungs, breathing. No. Lungs, tree, breathing. No tree, no breathing. You get what I'm saying? Right? So what does this mean? We're now exploring and saying, hey, wait there a second. Even just my existence alone, I wouldn't be alive right now if Tree was not out there. So what is that? All of that is superconscious. It's something that's outside of this physical, but it is a part of you and it affects you. Does anybody know what happens if moon disappears? Does anybody know what happens if sun doesn't rise tomorrow? Do you guys know what happens? It will be dark. You will die. Do you know that? Do you guys know moon is also linked to waves and water? Do you guys know? Everything is linked. You learn this in science. Moon is linked to waves and water, oceans. Do you know what water is linked to? Do you know what you are? You are water. Water consciousness. All of this. Do you think if outside of us something small happens, does it affect us? Let's take outside. Outside in space. Let's take two plates. If they collide, does it affect you? On the Earth, outside of the Earth, two plates collide. Will it affect you? Yes or no? Does it need to be catastrophe out there, or does it just need to be a little like bloop? Right? It just is a little bloop. And guess what? Right? How many? Thousands of people die. This happens in this world, no? A tiny, tiny shift, and in here, thousands. What does this mean? It means that the superconscious, now these are levels. Most people who are searching all the YouTube videos on manifestation, most people are trying to manifest with this thing here. Conscious. Okay, I know, I'm going to think about my intention, I'm going to make my vision board, I'm going to stick it on my wall, I'm going to look at it. You consciously do that. You don't subconsciously do it. You don't unconsciously, you don't superconsciously do it. You consciously do that. But always understand one thing, and that is the higher the level of consciousness, the higher the performance. Think about that a second. Do we have any musicians in the room? Musicians, okay? You class as a musician if you can actually play something. Okay? I used to call myself a musician. I had guitars, but I couldn't play them. Right? So any of you who play a musical instrument will understand this philosophy. Because if I tell you to consciously remember the notes, remember the frets, remember the notes, and you play that way, don't forget, what happens? You screw up. When you have practiced this so many times, it's logged into subconscious, your subconscious, you are just flowing. You're not trying. Time passes by extremely fast, you ace it. Driving is the same. In fact, every single thing in life is the same. Sales is the same, doing business is the same, everything's the same. When you're driving, it's the same. You ever had it before? You're a perfect driver, that's cool. Don't hit the curb, don't hit the curb, don't hit the curb. What do? You hit the curb. When you consciously try to do something, it's your lowest performance. The moment you raise your subconscious, guess what? Higher performance. You're not thinking about it. You're chatting to a friend while driving. Everything is perfect. You even forgot you were driving. Then there's the highest level, which is the superconscious. And the highest level, the superconscious, is saying when you are connected to something that is greater than you, which you are, but when you understand and bring that superconscious into your human conscious, and when you are able to connect with that, you're able to work with that, you're able to manifest way, way, way faster. 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times faster. And my best analogy for this, I always give when we teach yoga for manifestation. How many of you joined the yoga just a few days ago, by the way? Very good. Have you guys still been practicing, or did you guys stop already? Did you practice today? Why are some of you hiding your face, huh? Eli? Manindara, been practicing? Very good. Very good. You guys been walking up and up, down wall 10, 12 times? I think I'm predicting, some of you with that smirk on your face, I'm predicting that most of you have been practicing only the things you enjoy. I enjoy this asana. I explain most when I talk about yoga for manifestation, because I give the analogy of a cell in your body, and I say, when you drink something like a vodka, you are an outside dimension. Cell doesn't know who you are. You drink a vodka shot, inside, catastrophe is happening, earthquake, volcano is happening. The whole army has come out to try to save your liver. Are you guys getting what I'm saying here? Inside, do you know how hard they need to work to try and fix that problem? But imagine if inside that cell could one day come out and speak to you. That'd be freaky, right? Imagine tonight, your cell taps on your shoulder. Hey dude, wake up. There's a problem in there. And imagine if it could speak to you to say, hey, there's a serious problem in there. If you don't stop doing those vodka shots, and if you don't do some like water fast or some like spiritual stuff like that, we're going to have a big problem in there, and you may even die. Imagine if that inside dimension could communicate with your outside dimension, what would happen? You would fast, suddenly inside the next day, it'll be like rainbows and sunshine, and all the cells will be like, oh my God, they'll be having a cell party. But if they can't communicate with the outside world, guess what? They need to keep gathering their army together to try and save the world inside there. In exactly the same way, if you can communicate with your outer existence, note this down, what I'm saying here, because then all of this will come to more clarity. I'm saying if you can communicate with your outer existence, that is your most powerful manifestation. Inside, there's an inside. No existence knows of the next existence. Your heart, does your heart know who you are? No. Does it know you by name? Kauta? No. Doesn't know you by name. Does it know what you look like? No. That's your inside dimension. It's a part of you, but you can say it's got a separate life of its own. Because let me ask you a question. Your heart, or any other organ for that matter, is it going to work every single day? It's going to work every single day. And I don't believe we give our gratitude to our bodies enough. Are you guys knowing what I'm saying here? When was the last time you placed your hands on your heart just to say, thank you, heart, for beating 100,000 times a day and not stopping? And outside on this dimension, by the way, I complain working the 9 till 5. It's not separate to you. It's a part of you. You give gratitude to your heart, you're giving gratitude to yourself. It's a very powerful vibration. So, what about inside heart? What about the blood cells inside the heart? Does the blood cells know heart is called heart? So, inside the dimension is another dimension that doesn't know the outside dimension, but it's working every single day and it's in its own world. That is exactly the same way. Inside is another inside is another inside. This is quantum level. We're understanding everything on quantum level. When we go outside, when people talk about quantum dimension jumping, quantum manifestation, this is what we're talking about. We're saying if we can connect with something that's outside dimension, everything is much faster. So we're going to be breaking it down over the 3 days. We're going to be breaking it down. You must at least be able to handle this level first, which we are attacking now. I'm speaking to you on the conscious level. We need to first fix the mind. How many of you realize that the mind sometimes has some doubts and has some fears and has some things that stops you from achieving what you want? Sometimes you say, just trust, damn it, and it's just not trusting. Right? So on that conscious level, we must change. On that subconscious level, we must change. Then going on to the final day, we're going to do a huge healing portal, which we're going to tap into the superconscious. But it will take step by step. So we'll go bit by bit.